Welcome to Living Well Today. I'm Angela, and I'm going to dive right in today into the currency you didn't know you had. And before we begin, I want to thank you and thank those who show up and do the work, do the hard work, evolving your business, evolving your life, evolving your mindset, and intentionally heightening your own awareness and wisdom around having a work and life balance and creating harmony and beauty in your life inside the office and outside the office, metaphorically speaking. It's not for the faint of heart. You know, you could bury your head in the sand and you could just say it's good enough. And for those of you who keep showing up or sending me words of encouragement or loving the words of the week, I hear you, I see you, I appreciate you, and you're doing the work. And just simply thank you for showing up. So I do encourage you to check out my YouTube channel and some of the other social platforms that I'm on. I want to thank the folks on Instagram in particular, because my lives on Instagram have really been doing well, and it's kind of exciting. It's not as though I do the work, I create, and I do the work because I have to create. That's who I am. Um, but I'm not going to deny that it's certainly nice to get feedback and affirmation that this is resonating with you, and that the path that I am on looks or feels somewhat familiar for so many of you. And, we are all in this together. I talk about the all of us principle, and all of us are smarter than any one of us. All of us are more creative than any one of us. All of us are stronger together than any one of us alone. And so I wanted to take this moment to thank you. And of course, to go live over on Instagram, because StreamYard requires me. I have to go live separately on there. So we're talking about the currency you didn't know you had, the forgotten currency in so many ways. We measure our lives by our bank accounts. We measure our lives by likes on social media. We measure our lives by how many people we think love us. We measure our lives by the size of our home or the newness of our car, or how many cars we have. I mean, those are the measurements that so many of us tangibly look outside of ourselves to measure the value of our life. And while those things are certainly benchmarks and reflections back to us, we think that it's the money that makes the world go round. Some say it's love. Some say it's innovation. More and more will say it's AI that makes the world go round. What if all of those things are only partial truths? What if trust, the root of it all, this is what I'm here to establish with you, is the currency that you have is trust. What if trust, not money, not love, not innovation, not AI, is the deepest, most profound human currency? Think about it. Without trust, money doesn't move. What is the first thing that comes up on your phone when you're about to Zelle someone, or you're about to Venmo or Cash App or something? Do you know this person? Is this the right number? Do you trust that this is real and not a scam? Trust moves money around. You don't tend to want to, unless you're forced to, give money to people you don't trust. Okay? Without trust, money doesn't move. Without trust, love doesn't last. It's granted in a marriage or a relationship. And what happens when that trust is broken? Love doesn't last without it. Without trust, innovation can never take hold, because innovation is only as good as it coming to life. Innovation is creativity in form, in action. And those actions in that form can't take place unless 1,000 points of trust were met along that path. Trust decides. Trust does. And yet, did you wake up thinking about it today? How do I build my trust? How do I reaffirm? How do I enforce? How do I replenish? How do I nurture trust? It's rarely measured. We rarely notice or take conscious notice. We know it's there or not. We sense it. We may not label it that way. But if someone's walking up your sidewalk to your door and you don't know who they are, you're immediately in non-trust first. Safety, survival. That's hardwired into our DNA. What I am here to share with you today are some tools and resources of how to culture, how to nurture, how to replenish or reestablish and rebuild if you've lost it. I've lost trust with people in my life. Sure, I'm human, just like you. And then I have many, many clients who I've very much not only earned, but established and retained their trust. And they trust their livelihood information to me, their business information, their deepest desires about their company or their relationship or their daughter or whatever it might be. So that requires immense trust. What I'm here to demonstrate is that you can only be granted as much trust as you have nurtured within yourself first. So like so many things, it's about being congruent. What are you building on the inside? Trust is an inside job, like everything else. It's an inside job. And then it shows up in your life in many different ways to affirm or to test or to have you learn better discernment around trust. But trust does decide. It decides everything. Do you see the immensity of that currency that you have to either nurture or ignore? And ignore at your own peril. Here's a quote from one of my favorite writers, not an easy writer to read, but one of my favorite writers, Ernest Hemingway. And he said, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. Simple. Risky? Sure. True. Real indicators of wealth. How much trust are you building? How much trust are you creating? Think of a moment in your life where trust was the real deciding factor. For me, I was sitting, and this has happened many times over, sitting beside, ideally not across from, but sitting beside a client and having a conversation about money and budget. And knowing for sure that I have to be able to look them straight in the eye with all that I am and all my congruence and all my integrity and say, this is the right path for you. Work with me on this. Allow me to help you. Be open to receiving, open to trusting that what you're about to experience, the journey we're about to go on together, is not one you've ever been on before, but will be the most profound of your life. That's my promise to you. It will have the greatest impact. Working with me will have the greatest impact on your life and your business than anything else you've done. And knowing that so solidly, trusting myself to know that the way I show up for people, the way that the space that I hold for them, the light and the potentiality that I see within them that they may not be able to see within themselves, the value of that is infinite. It's eternal. And so I know I can show up with that. So I trust. in my capability to deliver on that. Prove it through my words, my confidence, my own belief, and my own trust in myself and my capabilities and my energy, my promise, and keeping that promise. And that they're all lined up. They're congruent. So are you congruent with the words that you say, the actions you do, and the things you believe, and what you deliver on, how you show up? Do you say what you're going to do and do what you're going to or what you said you would do? That's congruence. And when you say what you're going to do and do what you said you would do, that builds trust. That demonstrates trust. I realized very early on, when you're talking with someone about budget, it is actually money on the table, but it's trust on the table. Yes, there's money on the table. Yes, you're talking numbers. Yes, you're negotiating a partnership. The bedrock of that, what's really on the table, is the quotient of trust. How much trust is on the table and in their hearts and heads about you. That goes for your kids, your neighbors, any clients, patients. If I'm your patient and I don't trust you, where is that going? Am I going to follow the regimen you prescribe to me? Take the medicine that you say will help me on my path? What? No. I don't trust the information because I don't trust you. There's a saying I use in business that my mentor taught me, that if they don't believe your research, they won't believe your recommendations. And that prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Baked into each of those beliefs or principles is trust. And there isn't a principle out there, I don't think, in business that isn't somehow founded upon trust. In business, in relationships, in leadership, in your family, in your community, nothing moves until trust moves first. Let's bring this down even closer. Every decision that you make today is a transaction of trust. Every decision you make and every conversation you make, somewhere in there is the invisible trust or lack thereof. You don't think about it that way, but it's there. When you hand your keys to a friend to borrow your car, that's trust. Now, some of you say, I never let someone borrow my car. That's because you don't trust someone to treat it like you would. And that's understandable. Something valuable like that. And, the liability, etc. It's probably smart not to lend your car, But when I Airbnb'd my home, I had to trust that the system and that everything the way I had set up and the choices I made, the discernment about who to rent my home to, that I trusted them with my home and my valuables and my place of, right? That's trust. And you can't give it if you don't have it for yourself. And that if you don't have the right support systems set up for yourself, in the case of this with Airbnb that I knew, that I had learned, when you sit in the doctor's office and you say yes to a treatment plan, that's trust. When you order something online from a brand new company, you're taking a risk, but you're trusting. You're not just spending money, you're spending trust. I'm going to like this. They're going to send it to me. And if I don't like it, I can return it. Or if it doesn't arrive on my doorstep, I trust this company will offer me a refund. And what happens when they don't? What happens when it doesn't arrive, or it arrives in a smashed box because the You trusted the delivery company to put it on your step whole. I had a, oh, let me see if I can, I'm going to grab it. I want you to see this. So my aunt and uncle in Asheville, aunt, tomato, tomato, in Asheville, they're famous potters. They taught at the Penfield School of Arts and Crafts. They have been in Asheville, North Carolina for 50 years plus. They're in their 80s now. So actually, I think it's up to 60 some odd years. And this is one of their signature pieces from the 1970s. And I found this online when my mom told me she had been looking for some of their pottery. And I don't know, I have many of their pieces. It had never occurred to me to look for it online, but it is collected around the world. And I found this. And I was so nervous about it arriving. There's butterflies all the way around, and there's a lid. I mean, it's wonderful. And then they have the name on the bottom, my uncle, Tyrone. And then my aunt would paint them and glaze them. He would throw them. And this is a slab, obviously. So I had to trust that this woman would package this so carefully, because I actually don't trust the postman to be careful with things like this, because many things have arrived in the past broken, and it arrived and it was super packaged well, and the box was in pristine condition. So people can also prove you wrong. They can show you, and that's part of rebuilding trust. They can reestablish trust by doing what they say they'll do and taking good care to deliver the package. If trust is the deepest human currency, then congruence, coming as you are, aligning your words and your actions, that's the mint. That's what makes the money. That's what makes the currency, the trust. That's what makes trust authentic, is that congruence. The pieces that show you there are reasons to trust. She does what she says she's going to do. She delivers her projects on time. She keeps that appointment. She shows up on time. She meets me where she says she's that email when she said she would. You see all of those dynamics. And then the in-person, I expect a certain thing. Now, somebody might look a different way than they sounded on the phone. That's one thing. Sometimes there's not a match with what they look like and sound like, for example. But I'll give you, I used this example the other day. If I go to a new hair salon and I know in the city of Jacksonville, my hair appointment is going to be ridiculously expensive, and I'm going to trust this person with my hair. That's a big thing, especially for a woman. Men, not so much. I think men appreciate a good haircut too, right? But we're talking about color and highlights, things like that. Like they're using chemicals, they're doing, right? So you're trusting somebody with your hair, which is a signature for most women. It's just so much part of your persona, right? Way that you present yourself to the world. And you see yourself in the mirror every day. And so I walked in, and this woman's hair was not good. Like her own hair was not good. And I said, I think I need a different hairdresser. Let me ask you this. If you walked into the dentist and he had rotten teeth, would you have him work on your teeth? Right? If you showed up for surgery one morning and you could smell alcohol on somebody's breath that was preparing your anesthesia. So that's incongruence. There are signals. And many times it's not in the words that we say, while words matter, because they're an absolute energetic signal of what's happening underneath, inside. 80% of communication is through body language. Energetics, the energetics of that person in that room, the way they're dressed, is that congruent? Are they, their hygiene, their breath, their eyes, their twitchiness, their nervous system? You pick up on all of that. All of those things are not always blatant, but they're there. And your system is wired to discern a lot of that without you even thinking about it, really. Yeah. So when can you fake trust? I think you could put on a fake persona and be a good actor, but only for so long. Eventually there will be a break in the behavior, in the words, in the congruence, and there will be a break, and then yeah, people can fake it for sure. They can tell you they're going to do this and then not. What I choose to do is to not go into the realm of being a cynic, meaning that you have to earn your trust with me. Now, on some levels, from a safety standpoint and just common sense, of course, you yourself, you're the most important thing. So you don't want to put yourself in situations that simply are not street smart. But by and large, if I will trust that person, and I'll go on my own gut instinct of, am I feeling that this is congruent? And the moment when that person, their energy doesn't match their words, or when they overpromise, or it sounds surreal, like who could do that? When they aren't aligned, when that happens, the transaction stops. There's a break. Oh, okay, it's done. And then you have to, if you're the other person, you want to cultivate that back, then you have to demonstrate. Then you have to prove the trust over and over and over. And sometimes it takes a long time. The cost of broken trust is significant. It's significant. It's expensive. When trust breaks, stress, unquestionably stress, second guessing, endless checking, micromanagement, sleepless nights, lost deals, broken friendships. I mean, you name it. It's incredibly expensive when trust is broken. I mean, just ask someone who, has millions of dollars on the line in a divorce or whatever the case may be. Trust and a breaking of trust can be very expensive. And distrust, mistrust, distrust, it's heavy. It weighs you down. That second guessing, that's not our nature, is to want to be congruent, to want to be in alignment. That's your nature. And so when it's misaligned and there's mistrust, it's heavy. There's drag on the engine. There's drag on the vehicle. There's drag on you. But when trust is strong, when it's affirmed and it's aligned, man, there's nothing stopping it. Teams move faster. Everything accelerates. Everything clicks, right? Everything moves into place. Relationships deepen. Intimacy, the intimate conversations with clients and patients and partners, all of that exponentially deepens. Things grow steadier, more reliably. Business scales quicker. All of those things. When trust is at the heart of what you're nurturing. So I call it the forgotten currency, because we make these assumptions very quickly about trust and we tuck it away. I'm trustworthy, but if you can conscientiously build trust every day for yourself from the inside out, strengthen it, put more facets on it, Think of ways that you can demonstrate, actually put it into action and demonstrate it. It's the one thing that decides everything. It's the one thing that decides everything. And yet we rarely notice whether we're spending it, whether we're abandoning it, whether we're diminishing it, losing it, tossing it out, or whether we're really nurturing it and respecting it and regarding it. And that's the question. Are you honoring it, or are you ambivalent to it? And the ambivalence costs you. It costs you. You may not always know it on the surface, but it does. I've got a tool for you, and it's called the Trust Ledger. And I worked on a little bit. It's going to be backwards for you, I think. So I don't think I have my screen mirrored. Do I? I don't think I do. So I want you to, if you can, and do it tonight, or on your lunch hour, or whatever. If you can grab a piece of paper, or on your cell phone even. And on one side, you put deposits. And on the other side, you put withdrawals. So, I delivered a design I said I would. I met that deadline that I said I would. I had that conversation, that tough conversation that I committed to having. I did it. That's in your plus column. Oh, I got to get that handyman paid. I keep forgetting to send him a check or a Zelle or whatever. I Zelled him, and it kicked back. It wouldn't take it. And I got onto something else, and so that's in my minus. You see that? That's a minus column. Get that bill paid. Okay. That's a withdrawal. Another deposit. I was on time for that meeting. Okay. Or I kept that date with this person, or I showed up on a Zoom on time. On time is keeping your promise. I mailed that package. I told that woman I would get that to her then, and I mailed it, and I kept my promise. Those are all in the plus column, you see? All in the plus column. So what's in your plus column? And what's in your negative column? What, are you depositing into your trust bank? Are you withdrawing from your trust bank? And what's the balance there? And of course you want, more deposits than withdrawals. That's the currency I'm talking about. That's so often, and it's the most important one, because nothing moves until trust moves first. Choose to make one deposit today. One deposit, make it today. Keep your word, be your word. Build your trust. Finish something you said you would. Go finally clean out the car and wash it because you told your wife that you would do it and get it done. Or show up at your son's sporting event and show up on time and sit there and be present and stay off your phone. That builds trust with your son. When you say you're going to do something and you do it, or you surprise them and you do it. It could be something very, very small, and follow through on that text you've been avoiding, or the phone call conversation you've been avoiding, or if you owe someone an apology for letting them down, make it today. Begin to rebuild that trust. One deposit today starts to build your wealth in trust. One deposit, and then it's 2, and then it's 3, and then it's 4. And there will be debits. There will. Welcome to being a human being. Let's bring this full circle. What if trust, not money, not love, not innovation, is the deepest human currency you can invest in and manage for yourself? What if it's the real wealth? And as you foster it, nurture it, be mindful of it, can that build it from the inside out? Can that enhance how the world interacts with you? Yes, like 10 times over. In fact, the promise I make to my business clients is 10x your trust so you can 10x your profits. That's how powerful trust is. And trust decides. And you get to choose. You get to choose every decision. You get to choose. Where is trust in this? How can I demonstrate that I'm congruent and that I do as I say I'm going to do? And build that trust and keep that trust and foster it and honor it and put it above all else. And put it above all else. My invitation to you is simple. Notice. Notice how you spend your trust today. If you try to take advantage of a situation, if you try to shortcut something, if you try to pass the buck onto somebody else, and then they're looking at you saying, I knew I couldn't trust them. Is that happening anywhere in any aspect of your life? With your money, with your health? Can your body trust you? Should your body trust you to take care of it? To take the supplement this morning, to go for the walk, to get sun on your face, to get enough sleep? Should your body trust you? That's an area I'm working on for me, is teaching my body that yes, it can trust me to be a good steward, a better steward maybe than I've been over the last 20 or some years. Build your trust, build your trust wealth today, and watch everything else in your life begin to change. That's my promise to you. 10x your trust so you can 10x your life. 10x your trust, you can 10x your business. As you 10x trust, your confidence goes up because everyone sees you're capable and you see you being capable. So your confidence goes up. Yeah. Thank you for joining me today for episode 82 for Living Well today. And I wish you all the best for living well today, inside and outside your business, inside and outside your home, inside and outside of your heart. God bless.